All right, welcome everybody. We are back at the Pykthos Strategy Cafe. I believe this is
Ooh,
our third episode edition, whatever we're calling it. We're
yes.
excited to talk to you all. The mission here is to just give you guys a chance to ask questions, get some advice, sort of mini mastermind without having to be a member of the Pykthos Mastermind. Some of you may then decide that you want to check out the Pykthos Mastermind, but this is not intended to be any kind of sales pitch or presentation or slide deck. We're just really here to share stuff that we think will be interesting for you all and answer questions. We've got a few ideas in the back pocket that we'll talk about here, mostly as a starting point, where we think AI, artificial intelligence, is taking this industry, what's going to change dramatically versus
Mm,
what's probably going to stay largely the same. And the good news teaser is it's going to be a big leveling of the playing field. And then we really want to
mhm.
just help out and answer questions as much as possible. And cool thing is we will record these, post them to YouTube, but I think people like podcasts too. So I think we're going to extract the audio of this and
Mhm.
upload it to Spotify as a podcast. So that'll be kind of cool and call it the Pykthos Strategy Cafe. So with that
Yeah.
said, Timothy, any opening remarks from you?
Yeah. So if you're a coach, hypnotist, therapist, somebody that is an amazing people helper, you're probably really good at helping people, but the business side of things, maybe not so much. That is exactly what Strategy Cafe is. So we would love to have you. You can check it out, Pykthos, Pykthos.com/cafe, CAFE, and you could sign up and register. This is 100% free. So if you're listening to this on this podcast or watching this on YouTube, we'd love to have you. Please join us. And it's every other Friday. Let's
All
do
right.
this.
Awesome. Okay, so let's start off. If you're here and you have a topic that you want to dive into, let us know in the chat. I'm going to monitor the chat real quick. I've got it open here up in front of me. And drop your questions or comments or things that you would like us to talk about. Mostly, it could be anything. You could be brand new to business and you're looking to get going for the first time, or you're already, I see a lot of people in the room here, for example, I know are fairly experienced practitioners. Believe me, everyone at every level is stuck somewhere. This is why, like Timothy and I spend a lot of money, many tens of thousands of dollars per year, more, especially if you can count travel to attend masterminds because even though we've been in business and we generally go, oh, we know what we're doing, but we get stuck too. And so it's a really great idea to mastermind with people and discuss problems. So if you have something that you would like to discuss, priority goes to those who get their stuff into the chat here, and then we'll read it. We'll probably ask you to unmute yourself and talk. So while that's happening, though, let's start. Should we just start off, maybe, Timothy, with that AI and where AI is going conversation just to
Yeah.
seed things?
Yeah,
All right.
I definitely think not just where AI is going and where we see technology and stuff going, but also to ease people's minds
Hmm.
specifically in this space with using AI because I know just by show of hands and for anybody listening at home, but show of hands, how many of you guys maybe currently use AI or in some way, shape, or form your business? All right, it's a couple. How many of you are like, hey, I don't even want to touch AI in my business?
I'm really curious. Oh, I don't see any hands.
Wow, yeah, cool,
So
cool.
that seems like maybe a change in attitude over the last year or so. Now, it might just be that the sample of people here are smarter and therefore no problem open to AI right from the get-go. But I do know, if we think back about a year ago, there were maybe even more than that. I'll give you an example. I want to say about a year and a half ago, could have been 2 years ago, I did a test and I put a chat bot on the Mike Mandel Hypnosis website and I let it run. I thought, well, who knows what's going to happen? And it worked pretty well. There were some people who were like, oh my God, I hate this idea. I would never want to have an AI answering questions. And I did disable it because it was early days and the tool didn't do a great job. It started hallucinating. And a hilarious example, I remember somebody asked a question like, oh, I bought such and such a product from such and such a different hypnotist. Would you credit me for that purchase? And the bot was like, of course I will. So that's not really great, right? But yeah, easy to fix. Back in those days, I think there was a lot of hesitation to use AI tools. And I definitely think that, like, we'll show the infographic we made, Timothy, and we'll walk people through it a bit. This things have gotten so much better, and I'm glad to see nobody raise their hands in saying that they don't want to touch AI, because it really is something that I think you have to use. And maybe to set the stage here, how many of you guys remember, let's say in the corporate world, when email came along? Many of us, I can see from, the general age here, many of us existed in the corporate world when there was no email, right? I know email came along right around the time I was graduating from university, my engineering degree. And so when I started in the workplace, it was pretty new, but everyone was using it very quickly. And it quickly became one of these things. Can you imagine running a company and just saying, nope, we don't use email. Screw that. We use pen and paper. We stick stamps on letters and we wait 60 hours or whatever the minimum time for mail delivery is. We communicate. No, you would be out of business, wouldn't you? Right? Like you would not exist. So I think in many ways, using AI is going to become a requirement, if not already. I would argue it's probably already a requirement. The good news is it's not here to scare you. It's going to actually level the playing field and make things so much easier for you in a lot of ways. A good quick
Mhm.
example of that would be, how many of you, just by show of hands, think having a nice looking website is a really big challenge? You don't have a budget. You don't want to pay a fancy designer. I'm not a designer. Timothy, are you a website designer?
Not by trade,
Better than
no.
me, but like you certainly wouldn't call yourself one. I mean, I don't think too many of us here would say, "Yeah, I'm a web designer. I'm a pro at
Yeah,
this."
I think most of us would say we didn't learn the skill sets of coaching, hypnosis, or whatnot in order to be web designers.
Oh
Like,
God, yeah, it was more of a requirement. Like back in the day when I started Mike Mandel Hypnosis in 2008, I built the WordPress website by hand. You had to install the database by hand for WordPress back then. There were no like theming engines and fancy things. So I used the default theme and I had to learn how to install a PayPal button and all these weird things. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. And I'm so glad that I don't really have to touch that stuff now. And that's why I was asking by show of hands, like how many people would say, I would be really at a struggle to make a nice looking site? Well, with no help, like on your own, waiting for
yeah,
hands.
yeah.
Oh
Well,
yeah, okay, thank you. Yeah, everybody, that's gonna go away. That's gonna go away. It's already gone away, pretty much,
mhm.
if you know how to do it. So that's one of the things. Also,
Yeah,
like Timothy, maybe while I'm pulling up the document, do you want to talk about any other things that are gonna kind of level in the playing field, like
yeah.
copywriting or anything
Well,
else?
I definitely think people are probably wondering, like, when you say level the playing field, like, what exactly does that mean? Well, Chris already alluded to it a little bit regarding websites, but there's people here, for example, like Ty White. He's been a copywriter for 6, 7, probably plus years. Like me, that I started as a copywriter, and there was a point in time, like 3, 4 years ago, when AI was first starting to come out. There was these tools like copy.ai, and there was like Write Sonic, and there were the early adaptations of it. Weren't
Yeah.
quite AI, but like more algorithmic, I guess,
I think
to
they
would
were
be.
in early implementations of
Yeah.
large language models, and
Yeah.
so they
And
did like headlines and
yeah.
stuff like that. They could write maybe a description, but some of them even started to write full blog posts. But they were really seeds to get you going. And if you published that garbage, you deserve to be punished.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You needed to human edit, but it would speed things up.
Yeah. And so now, though, like you can find somebody of Ty's skill set or higher in the form of an AI bot.
Yeah.
And so, by level the playing field, it no longer requires years and years of understanding when the bot itself already knows. And so, all you have to do is just talk to it like it's a person. Now, I think that probably this year is where we're going to see the influx of people using AI less as a tool and more
Hmm.
as what we would call an AI or an agentic agent,
Hmm.
where it is capable of being like a person that you talk to, almost like an executive assistant. You could say, I
Agentic.
need you
Yeah.
to research X, I need you to
Hmm.
do Y. And it can do those things without you having to, like Chris said, pay somebody and or learn the skill yourself.
In fact, I don't know if we'll get into it, but when it came to, we were doing some newsletter research, and Timothy deployed an AI just to do deep research on the topic of newsletters, and it was crazy. How many pages was the report in like 30 minutes?
Yeah,
26-page
yeah, it's like
report, best in
26 or
class.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let me walk you guys through this because this actual, you see this really cool looking infographic here. I'm gonna just see if I can pull up the chat as well to make sure I can read people's comments. Okay, I made this with AI after Timothy and I had a fairly lengthy conversation, was it on Monday? I think or Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't know. A couple of days ago, we had this long conversation about what's going on and how we can help people be successful and where people are struggling. And it was really interesting. And then we just took the summary notes of our conversation, which AI summarized, and I fed it a prompt and said, "Hey, could you make me an infographic that kind of encapsulates everything we just talked about?" So the cool thing is, this is literally like our original thoughts, but AI helped us summarize the thoughts and then make a graphic out of it that I could never have imagined creating myself. I wouldn't have the first clue how to explain to a designer what I wanted. And this was the first version. So is it perfect? Probably not, but is it a pretty darn good example? I'm still admitting people into the room, Timothy. I don't know
Yeah,
if you
I'm
can
doing
see.
that too. I got it.
I don't think we can turn off the waiting room because it's permanent. But anyway, let's go through. So it's called the AI called it AI and the coaching revolution. What's changing and what's staying the same. And I will kind of speak to this enough so that if we do turn this into an audio podcast, people can still hear it and make sense of it. And if they're watching a YouTube replay, then they'll be able to see this, which is wonderful. So let's think like what's going to stay the same, but then what's going to change. And here, let's start with the fun stuff. What's going to stay the same? Probably all of you, your trust and connection. Like people still buy from people, not machines. So the good news is you still do the good work. You still have to build the relationships. I don't think that's ever really going to go away. People still trust people, right? We're not AI bots here. We're real people. Timothy and I are just here to talk to you guys, and we want to hear from you. We don't want to hear from your bots. Not, hopefully, you don't have bots. So trust and connection. Transformation, I think for the foreseeable future, the work that we all do in terms of helping people, I think that's still going to be people. Do I think AI has a place to help in there? Maybe with note taking when you're doing client intake sessions and stuff like that? Sure. Maybe in summarizing homework for a client if you give them? Absolutely. You know, sort of think of it as having a professional admin assistant that can do cool stuff for you? Absolutely. But are you the one doing the therapy with the client or the change work and the coaching and the hypnosis? Yeah, absolutely. Then when it comes to marketing, like community, referrals, word of mouth, people talking about you, that's still going to happen, right? You still trust your mom or your best friend or whoever to recommend, oh, this new coffee shop in town rocks. You should go there. That's not going to change. And finally, actually, this is one that's been hammered home by my own executive assistant, Bastian. He's awesome. And we start using a lot of AI tools in social media. And he's been very clear in reminding us that, you know, what's going to become more important as AI junk can fill the socials and stuff, making sure that it's your authentic self. So, as an example, like if we were to grab little clips of this from this Zoom meeting and post them on Instagram Reels or something, I really think that's going to be the authentic message. People want to connect with real people. So that kind of makes sense, right? So let's now shift to AI. What's AI going to be able to do for us in our business? What's going to dramatically change? Well, actually, let me see if I can expand this because I can't see all of you on camera when I'm screen sharing. So maybe Timothy, as if you can see everyone, you can sort of give me the feedback like I'm the blind person here that I can't see. How many of you guys already have a bit of an expectation that if you go to a website like a larger company, you expect to be able to get an instant answer from some sort of AI, at least before you escalate to a human? Yeah, I'm seeing some hands already from the few people. What are you
Hmm.
seeing, Timothy?
Yeah, yeah, tons of hands.
Yeah, awesome. So I think the tools are there now already. Like we already have them inside of Pykthos. More and more platforms will have chatbots and you can train them yourselves. Like literally, you can write a Google document that just is standard operating procedures and answers to common questions. And it's very, very easy to program a chatbot that can answer basic questions. And then if it gets stuck, you know, escalate to a human, maybe initiate an email to you. And I think that's going to be required. So if you're doing business, I think that's going to be an absolute requirement within, you know, within a few years. And the good news is very easy to do. We already talked about websites and funnels, and everybody already kind of raised their hands and admitted, yeah, like I'm intimidated by making pretty websites. It's hard, but it's really easy with AI. We might even be able to show you an example. So that's what I mean by level the playing field. Timothy, you asked me to explain that. And used to be that you'd have to have a big budget, you'd have to have fancy tools and a team, or, you know, be able to go find amazing freelancers to build you great looking websites, great looking graphics. That's no longer the case. You can literally put in a prompt that says, "Hey, I need a sales page that has the following elements," and almost if you do a good job of asking for what you want, you'll get an amazing result right away. So that's pretty cool. When it comes to writing emails, writing campaign content, writing copy, absolutely AI. You have to understand how to use it, but the good news is it's so simple. Like if you can ask somebody a question, you can ask an AI a question and get an answer. So if you've ever used ChatGPT to figure out, how do you, oh, I don't know, how do you update an app on your iPhone? Whatever stupid things people ask, stupid and smart. Ask people questions and ask AI questions. It's just easier to go to AI because it's always there. So you can ask it questions, you can have it write content for you, and you still need to wordsmith it and put it in your own voice. Remember back to this authentic content, your authentic self. Don't use it to remove yourself and your personality. Just use it to speed things up. And then again, content creation, like if you have ideas, you can use an AI and say, "Hey, AI, I've got this like awesome stuff that I want to do in terms of a course or a video. Can you help me put it together and organize it?" It will do that for you. And it'll do it in, minutes or seconds, and it won't take you days and weeks. So to summarize it all, the winning formula, AI plus humanity. So you have people without AI. So if you don't use it, then you're going to be outdated and slow. That's like the corporate world not using email or refusing to use before then a fax machine or something like that. AI without people, you're going to have cold and impersonal. So you're going to lose that authentic self. You're going to lose the real person thing. So hopefully that makes some sense to you guys in terms of how it levels the playing field. And yeah, we'd love to. I'll stop the screen share at this point and go back to seeing you all because you're all good looking people. Yeah, we can talk more about this and we can, of course, answer all of your questions and just have cool conversation.
Yeah. So we've kind of touched base on where AI is going and specifically in our industry and how you can get ahead of it. So what's interesting is that we also kind of ran a little bit of a test. Won't really explain how we ran it, but we ended up running a test with what are considered problem statements. And for many of you, if you're not aware, Eugene Schwartz wrote a book called Breakthrough Advertising. And in that book, he outlines the 5 different awareness levels that what your customers might be in. Everything from they're not even aware that they have a problem all the way up to they're actively looking specifically for your offer or whatever it is that you're selling. And when you're wanting to, like, let's say, how many of you guys know what a lead magnet is? Something free. Yeah, it's something free you give away in exchange for an email. And it should be easy, it should be like 10 minutes, or less to be able to consume. Also needs to be high quality and perceived high value. So
Yeah.
that could be like a hypnosis audio track. It could be like our 22-page report on like how you can grow your business using our framework.
Yeah,
Maybe
actually,
it's
I
like,
think a lot of people, I think a lot
yeah,
of people probably believe they know what a lead magnet is, and you do.
yeah.
But if you do want us to dive into more like of the details around what the criteria of a successful lead magnet are, do let us know. And then, yeah, because Timothy, you started talking about it and you continue on. But if people do want a deeper dive into that, we can do it.
Yeah. And so when it comes to that, we ran something called problem statements as ads, and we're just kind of getting a heartbeat of our industry and the people out there and what would resonate with them the most. And the absolute top performing one, the problem statement, and I just want to see a show of hands if this resonates with you guys. Our top problem statement was, I'm great at helping people, but I don't know how to market myself. How many of you guys feel that
Yeah,
way?
how many head nods or hand waves or
Oh my
yeah.
gosh, like almost everybody in the room.
Yeah, and it's interesting because yeah, like what Timothy just said here, we brainstormed and we used AI to help us brainstorm, by the way. What are the biggest problems that people in our space face? Because let's say you are in our shoes and you're selling a marketing mastermind and the software and tools, which is what Pykthos is, to accomplish that, right? Well, how do you get in front of people? You don't want to rely on them already knowing who you are and what you sell. You want them to be aware of their problem first. It's just like a therapist would go, well, I know there are people who are aware that they have social anxiety or that they smoke and that they don't want to smoke anymore or that they're overweight and they'd rather not be. They don't necessarily know what the solutions are or the various solutions that are out there. So again, you have to back up, and that's what we ran as we ran these ads, and that was the winning problem statement, right? I think we nailed it down to five. Did you want to focus in on that one, or did you want to read any of the other ones?
No, I kind of just want to get a heartbeat
Hmm.
myself, and it seems like our assumption was accurate, and that like almost everybody in the room had some type of hand raise or agreement, like a nod or something. So
That's
if
awesome.
that, yeah, if that is the winning problem statement, we ran those, and that's what came up. You guys just kind of validated and confirmed. So how can we? And by we, I mean Chris, myself, and then Team Pykthos and anybody else that might join the Pykthos Mastermind. You can check it out, pykthos.com/mastermind. We'd love to have you. Um, where exactly can we take 2026? If you're
Yeah.
great at helping people, but you don't know how to market yourself, this is where our ability to dive in, chunk down comes in. And I'm going to
Hmm.
ask for us to start this conversation. What specifically are you not or struggling with when it comes to marketing yourself?
Oh, there's the meta model. Yeah, there we go. I love that our audience already knows this stuff, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you solve that problem, oh, presupposition, how will everything be different? Let us know. If anyone wants to unmute and chime in, go ahead.
New You Health in Mind says hating social media.
Yeah.
Social media. Social media. Okay.
Okay,
See,
interesting. That's a common one. And I think a lot of people, this is a funny thing, Timothy. Let's back up a moment here too. Do you remember when we would look at various hypnotists, hypnotherapists' websites? One of the most common things I would notice was they didn't even
an,
have a
an
picture of
image.
themselves.
Yeah.
Never mind a video introducing themselves. Hi, I'm Chris Thompson. I'm whatever the pitch is. People so often didn't even have a freaking picture of themselves. And those who did, it would be like, well, why don't you have a video? And I don't know. I would speculate less than 10%, fewer than 10% of websites had a video, maybe even fewer than 5%. And that's a big problem, right? Because if you can't even put it on your website, what do you think the chances are that you're going to be out there with an Instagram reel or a TikTok channel or something like that, or YouTube? Does that resonate with you guys? How many of you guys feel like I'm not even super comfortable being on camera? Okay, so is it because you don't know what to say or you're shy on camera? Like, let us know in the comments here. And any
Yeah.
other
Or is it
questions you
something
want to ask about
else?
that? Yeah, or is it something else? A lot of I'm trying.
Yeah.
I am problem solving, first principle thinking here. You could be yes, afraid to go on camera generically, or no, not really afraid of being on camera, but it's more like I don't know what to say, in which case we can dive down that rabbit hole. But if it's the first, if
Hmm.
it's I'm not comfortable being on camera, well, guess what? You're in the right industry. You can get the right kind of help, but you got to solve that problem first.
Yeah. I definitely see here it's like shy on camera,
Hmm.
afraid of haters, messing up. That's definitely something that we've heard quite a bit.
I never
I
mess up,
think
right?
I definitely, well, I
Kidding.
definitely think there is this it's unfortunate, but there is this common misconception that it has to be perfect.
Hmm.
And so, like, people are afraid of even just stumbling over their words or getting on a Facebook Live and someone asks them a question and they have to say, I don't know.
Hmm.
Now, I think that that's actually in 2026 and beyond, with the proliferation of AI, I think you messing up, you having human elements when AI
Kind
is
of be a good
already
thing.
perfect
Yeah.
is going to be the thing that's different. Because AI with a script, you don't even have to hop on video anymore. You can just have it scan your face and make a video for me. And you know what? It's going to be perfect every single time.
And
And
everyone will
because
hate it. Yeah.
everyone will hate it because AI it's just going to feel cold. It's going to feel impersonal. People like it when you stumble. People like seeing that you're human.
Yeah.
Authenticity is the absolute game changer this year.
Yeah,
All being
I completely agree.
yourself. Yep.
I very much agree with that. And if you want to get a sense of what AI avatars that are even using your own voice and stuff would sound like, you can look at heygen, HEYGEN.com. I think they have a free plan. I've never even used it because I don't want to use it right now. It might have practical applications in the future, but it'll be what Timothy described. You'll have this avatar that'll look like you and maybe sound like you, and you'll type a script and it'll look like a freaking robot. It'll be, here I am on camera. Hi, I'm Chris Thompson, and today I'd like to prepare you for an exciting transfer. It would all be very roboty, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing. It's impressive as hell, but I don't
Yeah.
want to use it right now. It's just
No.
it kills the authenticity.
So here's the other thing, right? Is can you imagine like how many of you have seen because of AI, maybe some of your favorite, I don't know, like your favorite groups on Facebook or maybe the places that you're typically around are suddenly getting flooded with like all these people who are suddenly experts and they're writing essays that are just profound and you know this person. They don't talk like that. If
Yeah.
you saw that person in real life and asked them to explain their thought process in real time, could they? That's the difference between AI and you.
Yeah.
If you are the expert in your field, right? Like for example, if I started writing articles on nuclear physics and Chris would be like, "Dude, that's BS. I know that you have no clue." But if I was online and it seemed that way, then sure, I could probably get away with it until you met me in person and started asking me questions.
Yeah.
Conversations conversations are just that is what's going to make our industry shine because people like Chris said earlier, if you get on a discovery call, they're going to want to see that the you that they see online is the same you that's on the discovery call, or if they bump into you at like hypnothoughts or at these
Hmm.
other conferences, that the you that's online is the you that is there. I think I can say this probably with absolute impunity. The number one phrase that Mike, Chris, and I hear all the time when we go to places like Hypnothoughts or AOH is you guys are just like you are online.
I feel like I already know you guys. Yeah. When people
Yeah.
walk into our classroom in Toronto, or at Hypnothoughts Live, you're totally right. That's the most common. I mean, how many people have experienced that if you've met us in person? So many, because we have, Mike and I have now almost 300 podcasts out, and we just love to joke around. So yeah, that is, thank you, Timothy. That is probably the best proof point that at least I have in my life is the Brain Software podcast and our classes, and the, oh my God, I feel like you guys are exactly the same in person as you are on camera. And
Yeah.
well, wouldn't that be nice that you don't have to fake anything? There's nothing to hide. You don't have to hide your real self. You're just out
Yeah.
there. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. And AI is never going to replicate that. AI is never like, I'm sure maybe in the next 5, 10 years, it's going to have
Yeah.
enough training data on you guys that it could. But why would you when that removes all the fun? I'm sure you guys absolutely love being able to joke around with each other on the podcast. Like, why would you ever want to get rid of that?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Because it's fun. We just did one talking about we did a video about this. Don't worry, I won't go into it, but it's like the whole idea that if your work is actually fun, you will keep doing it. That's awesome. There's a bunch of comments I'm seeing that we should make sure we get
Yeah.
to.
This is awesome. Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
mind if I'm going to start with right when around the time when we asked for thoughts around social media. I'm going to go to the comment that is at 11:25 from Claire that says, I actually tried to do both a picture and a video and just couldn't get a single good one in the time that I had. That's actually an interesting one. So this is where AI can make your life easier. Did you guys know that now AI can essentially replicate a professional photographer? It's not going to be exactly as good or whatever, but I was messing around with Grok at lunch with Mike yesterday, and he couldn't believe this. He gave me a photo of himself that his wife had taken in their family room with their Christmas tree in the background. And he said that, his wife said to him, "This is one of the best pictures I've ever taken of you," because he's always joking about how he feels like he looks stupid when you get a frame grab of him in a video or something. And it's always the most awkward, a weird photo. But he liked this photo, but unfortunately, it was really bad lighting, and you couldn't use it professionally. It was weird with the Christmas tree and the blue lights that were coming through. So I said, "AirDrop me the photo," and he did. And then I just grabbed it and I went into Grok, which is an AI tool, and I said, "Hey," I uploaded the picture. I said, "Can you take the man in this photo and using his same outfit, but just fix the lighting and make it like a city, like make it so he's standing in a city street in Toronto or something like that. And I wonder if I can show you guys this on screen if I could just hold my phone up. But the point being, if you take any reasonable quality photo of yourself, let me see if I can find the chat here. I just see that you pinned me. There we go. Yeah. If you take like any, this one's not totally great because it doesn't look like Mike. I think the photo wasn't quality enough so that it didn't quite get the details. But this is supposed to be Mike Mandel standing in, and I don't like the expression on his face that much. So you could even say,
Yeah.
hey, make this a better smile. You could tell it to change expressions if you give it a sufficiently good quality photo, but you're not happy with aspects of it. You can basically like replicate as if AI took a better photo and you could change aspects of yourself, like put me in a white t-shirt instead of this Pykthos
Hmm.
t-shirt, put me in a tuxedo. Um, it's pretty amazing. And you can make really wild video clips and stuff like that. So I
Yep.
wouldn't use AI to simulate video, but if you want on your website to have professional looking headshots of yourself, I think that's actually a really good use of AI because people aren't going to like zoom in and go, oh, that's an AI. I can tell that's an AI image. It's okay if it's meant to be like a headshot. I mean, we pose for them. They're not our authentic selves, right? When we're posing for a headshot anyway. People are used to that, in my opinion. What do you guys think? What do you think, Timothy?
Yeah. Well, I do think that there's some cause for concern, I'm sure, because people say, oh, that's not really you. I saw a whole bunch of that over on Facebook. I saw a bunch of people now that this kind of stuff is happening where they were posting up their profile pictures and saying, look, AI just updated me. And I looked and I was like, that's not you. I,
Yeah.
I know what you look like in real life, and that is nowhere close to even being you, but they're trying to put it off as though it is them. Um, that I'm not really a fan of. But in
Yeah,
these
it has to, I think
particular,
it has to match. Like if you
it
were to
has to
say,
match.
if I was going to hire a photographer and I was going to wear this outfit and I was going to pose in this way, would I be happy with that and post it on my website? If the answer to that is yes, then could you use AI as your photographer? Yes, you can.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And I definitely understand Claire because she says, well, my client base will know that it's AI and it's not me. And so I guess in this case, I love the
St-
phrase, yeah, I love the phrase, Chris, that you use often, which is, perfect is better than never,
yeah.
or not perfect is better than
Mhm.
never. Because
Yeah,
if you,
done now is better than perfect never.
there
Claire,
it
you
is.
got your hand up. You want to go ahead?
Yeah, so in listening to all this, I have to share honestly that my client base is like so vehemently anti-AI, I'm not sure it's even usable.
Then
And
okay,
I
then in that
personally
case
have my
for
own
you, if
reservations.
you think it's going to turn off your audience, don't do it yet. Wait until you calibration, right? Wait until you calibrate that they're okay with that. Yeah,
That's what it looks like, yeah.
that's totally fine. In the meantime, if you want to email me anything that you've taken, and I will take my best stab at doing something and show it back to you and see if you like it. So just for fun, we'll see what happens. All
Yeah,
right.
I mean, it was about setting and lighting. It's a lot of stuff. I
Yeah.
probably just want to get into a studio with someone. There's plenty of people I know to do so.
Totally.
Like
And
John's
you
office
can
is
always
nice.
just set up your like if you want to have a camera on a little tripod or whatever and get just have a window with natural light shining on your face, that's the best way to get simple lighting. Just face a window. Don't have any light behind you. You don't want to be silhouetting out yourself in photography. And the same thing with
Right.
social media. If you want authentic looking social media videos, we did a mastermind session. Anyone who's in the Pykthos mastermind already, many of you guys are. A few months ago, we did one, and it was really awesome. Just about how you can use your phone and get really good quality social videos by making sure that you're at a window, just authentically talk. And if you screw up, because somebody mentioned that they're afraid of messing up, you can hit delete. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've thought, oh, this will take me 5 minutes. I'll get this video out there. And then an hour later, I'm on my 13th take. That's okay. Sometimes it's the first take, sometimes it takes 20. No big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Interesting.
can tell you how many times, even like with video, I've done retakes where I've done like an
Mhm.
entire 5 minute video and then been like, I hate it, and then redo the entire video.
Yeah.
So it happens to the best of us. It honestly does. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
got Catherine with her hand up there.
Yeah.
You wanna
Hello.
speak? Unmute yourself.
Yeah. Hello, Catherine.
Hey,
Hey,
Hello.
I'm doing chores. I've got my apron on. That's hilarious.
nice.
Your gingerbread apron.
Yeah. It might be really old-fashioned, but an idea for Claire when I moved into my new premises about a year ago. I wanted someone to come and take photographs, and then they couldn't make it. So I set up my iPhone and tripod, and I took videos, and I'm moving around my office, various poses, and then I just take screenshots of different parts of those
Yeah,
videos. You can catch yourself in a better position. So that's an idea maybe for Claire.
That's a really, really good idea.
that's
Good.
smart.
My girlfriend's gonna think I'm insane for about 10 minutes, but it'll work, yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what
Thank you so much,
that
Catherine.
reminds me of something Mike and I used to do. We haven't been doing this lately for some of our YouTube videos, but when we used to do a lot of standing up YouTube videos, we would hit record on the camera, and because we would forget in the past what that you want an interesting looking thumbnail, which is a still, right? And so what we started doing is exactly what Catherine just mentioned is we would hit record and then we would get in our position and we would speak. We would be recording the video and we would speak to our video editor, Ross. And we'd say, okay, Ross, this is a video called such and such. And we would literally brainstorm on the fly. Mike, what do you think we should do for a thumbnail? Oh, I don't know. How about we make it look like you're choking me or something and I'm, Bart Simpson and whatever, some could be anything ridiculous. And we would act it out and just pause as if it was a still camera. We'd pause in those little moments and then just let our editor choose whatever still that he grabbed from the video and make the thumbnail out of that. And that worked great. So that's a really cool idea.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Catherine. Really appreciate that. Yeah, this is why we absolutely love these conversations because Chris and I we're just dudes. Like we're just some guys and so many of you are brilliant and smart in ways that we obviously aren't. So we really appreciate your feedback and your commentary. Thank
What
you.
do you mean? We're not perfect?
Ugh, ugh. All right, we got New You Health in Mind. Hello, hello, Mandy.
Guessing
How
that's
are
not
you?
your actual name, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's
There is
fine.
a Mandy on there
That's
somewhere.
you and your
Yeah,
Hey,
room.
yeah.
Mandy.
Yeah, my question is, I use AI and I get really dissed by my kids. I mean, they're young adults now
Hmm.
and they hate using AI. They're really anti-AI. And a lot of the younger people that I know are like that. Is that the norm?
Well,
Yes.
let, it
Yes.
could be. I mean, what are you using it for? That let's get a little bit more specific. So when you say your kids are dissing you for using AI, what aspects of AI are you using? What are you
Well,
using it for?
I use it sometimes for like social media
Okay.
and that, or for making little videos, those AI generated ones. And they just hate it. They hate that I use it. And I says, look, you got to roll with the times.
Can you give me an example of a video? Like you don't have to show it or anything, but just a description, 30-second description of a video that you made with AI.
Not off the top of my head, no. But they just don't like me using AI full stop. And we're talking about 23 and
Mhm.
27-year
Yeah,
olds.
that's fine. Okay.
Uh,
Is it simulating you or is it,
no, not at all.
like
No.
it's a faceless video? Like they call
It's
them.
just like a faceless
Yeah.
video. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So those are never going to come across authentic. So that's part of the whole, authentic self. A faceless video with whether it be voices or sounds or whatever, it's not going to feel like you. So that they can be very useful. If you ever look across, let's say, Instagram or TikTok, and sometimes you will see faceless videos that you find quite interesting, right? Like maybe it's about economics or politics, or maybe it's about what's going on in the world, or a technology summary, or something about history, and you might learn from it and go, "Oh, that's cool. That's useful." But is it building a brand for the person? Like the person who published that, it's not really helping build their brand as a person. Now, maybe that's not their intention, in which case that's why it works. So if the outcome of your social media is that you need people to know, like, and trust you, and you don't yet have a significant presence on social, then I don't think that kind of video would do much for you. And so that doesn't necessarily mean you should care what your kids say,
I think
because
it's more to do with what it's doing to the planet rather than what I'm actually putting it. It's the fact that I am using AI full stop.
yeah.
Uh,
S-
yeah.
Mhm.
So maybe use, like us, if you don't have a big audience that knows you already, I don't think supplementing with that kind of, even using it at all in that way is going to help you very much. What does you gotta backpedal though and say, not backpedal, back up. Just go to the foundations. What is it that your audience wants from you? What are their problems? So when Timothy mentioned that we did research on problem statements for our audience, which is basically like you guys here, to in order to market our mastermind and software tools and stuff, we need to know what problems you're facing so that we can start talking about those and create content about those. And you need to do the same thing. What is it that people in your ideal customer base are facing in terms of a problem? And then how can you authentically use AI to help you generate ideas for the content, but don't replace
Mhm.
yourself on camera. Use your
Mm,
own actual likeness. That
Yeah.
said, once you get into what your audience needs, then it's not so much about what your kids who are 26 or whatever ages they are think about it. If they're not your avatar, their client, like it doesn't matter what they think. Now they may still very well be right, by the way, because if they share the opinion of your clients, then it's what your clients think that matters, not
my
what your kids
clients are
think.
fine with it.
Yeah.
It's just that, I mean, I'm not using anything
Hmm.
tasteless or I mean, I still put pictures of me up on
Hmm.
social media and videos of stuff that I'm doing uh, uh, on a daily basis. It's just like AI generated pictures and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Hmm.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely understand that, Mandy. I mean, a lot of the younger generation are seeing what's happening with AI in terms of the environment. They're seeing AI take over their colleges, and now, it's hard to even use a computer at a college and not be, claiming that you're using AI. And it also doesn't help that almost every company has pushed in some way, shape, or form AI first. I mean, Chris and I, all of last year, the big mastermind that we're a part of, that was their focus is like AI first everything. Like, everything from customer service to sales to it needs to be AI first. And Chris
Hmm.
and I, we kind of agreed ish. We agreed to the point that it needs to be AI to keep up with our competition until there's humans. Once you
Yeah.
reach the point where it should be a human handoff, think
Hmm.
of everything of you being on
Hmm.
camera, you doing discovery calls, meeting people in person. AI can't replace that. Um, what's so funny is Chris and I had this conversation a couple days ago, and because I was like, I hate AI. I cannot like Chris and I almost polar opposites. I'm like, I cannot stand it. I use it. I can't stand it though because I see everything that's happening. But then Chris made this brilliant statement of, well, if you're not using it, your competition is, and then you're gone.
Yeah, I'll re encapsulate that for you guys all quickly that if it's going to be useful, and that must be the foundational truth to start with, right? If it's going to make something better, i.e., doing research, helping copy ideas, organizing material, if it's doing a good job of improving the light, like if you could AI to replace a Photoshop editing job of a photo, like I have an actual photo of myself and I just want to fix the lighting. Well, if I need a guy who's going to spend an hour dicking around in Photoshop, but somebody else could just hit the fix this magically with AI because that already exists in tools, right? Boom. That's AI and that's going to take over. Editing a video, we had old school. We have, too much noise in the background and you'd mess around with the controls as the editor and you'd get it pretty good. Now they click a button that goes noise removal and the AI algorithm does it way better than the old school hard-coded methods of noise reduction. You everyone will go, everyone would probably agree like that's a great use of an AI tool, right? Because all it's going to do is take the noise out that makes the things sound crappy and fix that really quickly with AI. Amazing. Okay. So as long as we're talking about that caliber of usefulness, if then we said, you know what, I don't want to use AI. I hate AI because it feels impersonal. As long as it's useful, someone else in the market is going to use it. And this is just basic game theory. Like if you decide you're not going to use it, and let's say there's 100 companies and they all collude and say, we're not going to use it. And even one breaks stride and says, I'm using it. The rest of them are screwed. And game theory says, though, everyone will use it. right? It's like the prisoner's dilemma. Would you turn in your buddy? Well, game theory says you will every single time. So AI is coming, but let's focus on using it in a way that's actually useful. Because if people use it in a way that isn't useful, then it will harm them. And people will not do that until I think it'll just be a self-regulating world here where AI will come along at the pace at which it's actually useful and making things better, not worse. So decide for yourself, what do you think is going to make it better in your work and use it for those things? That's
Yeah.
my best advice.
Yeah. And regarding I did what you said, Chris, and I did a deep dive into like game theory and all that.
Hmm.
And what the research shows that if it's a one-time thing, yeah, then people are
Hmm.
more often than not going to be they're going to worry about themselves.
Hmm.
But if it's
It
a
will train over time.
thing,
Yeah.
yeah, but if it's a thing where they have to now redo it
Yes.
and everyone knows that they're going to have to do the task again, that's where cooperation comes in.
Yes. 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 100%. I agree with you. I want to hit up a couple of the other, I see hands up and then also just some quick scan through the chats here of what people are
Um,
saying. Use
and
headshots for AI.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, let's go while I'm reading. Let's go to
Bruce.
Bruce.
Hi, I left my background screen up because this is something I did pre-AI. This was just a photo of me standing in a kitchen
Oh yeah.
Nice.
and looked nice. I said, "Oh, okay. Let me go into Photoshop, delete the background, poof, create a radial gradient of a nice contrasting color, which you can see behind
Hmm.
me. Boom, boom, add some text on it that seemed relevant at the time. Um, and right now, if I had an AI that would do that for me, I would happily use it because I know
Yeah.
exactly what to ask for, exactly how to structure it, and to choose an appropriate photo. So, yeah, I spent a 2 or 3 interesting hours fiddling with Photoshop to get all that right. I
Yeah.
would much rather have an AI do it in 30 seconds.
Yeah, and even better than paying a freelancer to do it who could have pressed the same buttons that you did in Photoshop, right? And instead of paying that freelancer, you can now get the thing done in 30 seconds and it'll look just as good, if not better, which is pretty amazing. Great.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many people because I'm seeing here in the chat like somebody's like, oh well, I actually do photography, and so I'm sure that probably hit a little pain point, Chris, hearing you say like, oh yeah, like I'd much rather like just hit a button and have AI edit all my photos, and then there's someone in the chat's like, oh, but that's my part of my career is like I'm a photographer, and talk about the when electric elevators came in versus manual and
Well,
like
just, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I made that up, but just the idea that if there was an elevator that was manually operated and somebody had to haul it up by the cables, and then they invent electric motors and computers and stuff to control them, well, you'd go out of business pretty darn fast if you decided, no, we don't want to worry about having those cable haulers unemployed and using those nasty evil motors that you just would not survive, right? But the cool thing is, every time technology evolves, and I can't say that that's going to be the same. We're getting into an interesting conversation about the way the world is changing, but you could just do more. So let's say you had to edit if you're a photographer, and actually Laura's on here. Laura used to be a photographer, now is a professional hypnotherapist. Hello, Laura and Terrence. You can get more done, right? So if photographers generally, some of them will love editing, some of them hate it. They want to take pictures, they want to focus on composure, they want to focus on all the actual taking of the picture. And the editing is a pain in the ass. It takes hours and hours and hours, is low margin. They hire someone else to do it, and they get the editing done elsewhere, or they love it and they do it themselves. Don't know, but you could edit a heck of a lot more. I mean, how many people would happily manually adjust brightness and tweak it until it's perfect versus having an AI algorithm decide what's most likely the best outcome in like 3 seconds. And I think most of them would say, oh, yeah, I'll happily click that button. And that way I can work through my editing workflow, 30 times faster. So I think it will help in a lot of ways. You always push yourself to higher value. And if AI eventually, takes over some of the change work that we can do, then maybe it just means that you can implement it and help a lot more people much more quickly. That would be great. We'll
Yep.
see.
Yep. I love the response that Laura gave because that's exactly the tone that Chris and I believe in. AI shouldn't 100% replace the thing.
Hmm.
It because there has to be a human check. I can't
Hmm.
tell you this is the part of AI that I absolutely hate, and I am going to firmly hate it. And it is where how many of you guys have heard the company? I forget the name of the company, Chris, you might know, but they started advertising that they now are releasing 3,000 podcast episodes a week that are 100% all made by AI. A human never touches it. It's all automated. They literally click a button. It releases 3,000 AI podcasts out. I hate that
Never
because
Yeah.
heard of
there's
that. Yeah.
yeah because there's a gentleman that Chris and I know who was on the stage at one of the masterminds we attended several years ago, who said at the very beginning of AI that his company has launched a book writing company, and all they do is literally hit a couple buttons. AI writes the book, edits it, publishes it on Amazon, and it's never seen by a human. And he said that he has books, everything from being an expert plumber to, how to run a golf course to like all this stuff, never once read by an AI or a human, never touched by a human, all AI. And
Yeah.
that
Sounds
he's
like
a
sloth.
multimillionaire because of it. Absolutely hate that. I will never do that. And I think Chris is with me on that. Like we
Yeah.
almost always we use AI, for example, for our blog posts. We'll give it something that's apparent to the topic. We'll read it and we'll see what it outlined as a starting point. And I think for all of you, that's how AI should be used. It's a tool that you
Hmm.
then need to enmesh your own skill and voice and tone. If you
Yeah.
just use it as AI as it is, it's going to sound like everybody else, going back to that idea of authenticity.
Yeah. This is wild. I didn't realize we're going to get this deep into a conversation about AI, but we can keep
Yeah,
going this way, or we can continue to like just
yeah, yeah.
elicit,
Well, we
solicit and
do have
elicit.
Renee and
Yeah.
Lisa still. So let's
Yeah.
go Renee first and then let's go Lisa.
Feel free to stay on this topic or change it if you wish. We want to just make
Yeah.
sure we're being useful. We want to serve you guys. Go ahead, Renee.
Well, two things. One is a selfie stick with this little magic thing is your best friend for
Oh
taking
yeah.
selfie. So, and also Instagram is really good when you because it has a subtle feature. So if you want to have a little bit more polished look, it's not over the top.
Yeah.
So it still looks like you, or you use this, take the photo, download it into your regular camera roll, then you can upload it into AI and they can, keep it subtle. And I agree with everybody that I was actually in a mastermind group and I had a lady there that I spent 6 months looking at her on camera, met her in person, and it was shocking. It was because she looked 30 years older in person. She had that screen set right way up. So I get what everybody's saying. And also to Chris, one thing that when you've done 300 podcasts, what we have to realize is that you've practiced
Yes.
how many hours, and there's one thing that we can't get away from, and that's practice.
100% agree with you. And Mike Mandel often says, I'm just a little further down the road than you all are when he comes to hypnosis training, for example, right? He's been doing it so long. He said, all I've done is a lot more of it, and that includes screwing up a lot more. And yeah, that's 100% accurate. Thank you.
And
The
also,
idea of the selfie stick and the little shutter button, that's cool because yeah, you can set it up and then you could just be
yes,
holding the little shutter release Bluetooth
to have,
thingamabobber and it's awesome.
yes, and you can also see yourself.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
and set the camera height just a little above your eye
Hmm.
and look up into it. It also takes off about 3 to 5 pounds, off of you when you do
Nice.
that. There was one thing that I used to study Frank Kern all the time. And Frank Kern said this 15 years ago. We are moving away from the information, and what we're looking now is more of
I'm a Christian, and it's more of the spiritual aspect of all of it. And
Hmm.
it's like we can get the information off of AI, but it's coming back around as like as hypnotherapists, we've lived our lives. We've been through heartache, we've been through all of it. And so it's our gut feeling, it's connection, it's the heart, and it goes to the spiritual side of it. And that's one thing that if we lean into, is that part of it. And
Love it.
it's amazing when somebody else has gone through, something, loss, and you've also gone through loss. There's a spiritual connection with that. And that's
Hmm.
what you don't get with AI. And I hope you guys, take that to heart.
I think nobody's going to disagree with a single aspect of what you just said. I agree. Yeah. What's next? What else we got here?
Yeah. Lisa. Thank you, Renee, by the way. Thank you.
Hmm. Yeah, thank you so much, Renee. That actually leads in perfectly for where I'm coming from as well. So, a question for you guys. I am leaning more into what was that, Timothy?
Oh, it's a gesture. It means like when things gel and they just mesh perfectly. We use this gesture. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
100% synchronicity,
Yeah.
soul synchrony, right? It always works that way. Um, so I am I've finally discovered my niche. I mean, it was in there all the time, but I denied it, and thought, oh, I got to do all the practical things like smoking and weight loss. I don't
Yeah.
want to do that stuff, right? So focusing more on the soul aspect, even the name of my business, and getting more into past life regression. I want to get into the life between lives in order to help people, um, you know, help solve some of their current issues today. And thinking about that, the spiritual aspect, and again, Renee, I'm with you on that. I'm not Christian, but I follow the Self Realization Fellowship with Yogananda, Paramahansa Yogananda, and all the gurus. What is, and also tying into AI, what is a great prompt? Like, how did you guys word your prompt in order to come up with those problem statements?
Um,
Oh yeah. So
yeah.
super easy. So when you're looking at problem statements, like it would technically be the second layer, right? So if
Okay.
layer one was they're completely unaware that they even like have a problem, they're like, just the unconscious incompetence, as they would say, right?
Right.
The
Yeah.
next layer is you just introduce the idea that they do have a problem. That's what a problem statement is.
Right.
So, digital marketer, which is the leads on demand, is the course Chris and I took to learn this. Um, in that, you have to come at it from two different angles. First is you prompt the AI to be a market researcher or like an absolute expert in the market field that understands your industry. And what would it think that based on, and this is why we always discuss the Pykthos growth system, and it's something that everybody that's in the Pykthos mastermind gets access to. It's one of our templates and our tools. Inside of there is something called the perfect client snapshot. And then you also have the brand message blueprint, which is who your ideal audience is and how they probably think about all the problems in their life or the problem that is pertinent for the product you're selling. So what you do is you feed it that information and say, as a market researcher, give me 10 problem statements that you think my ideal client has. And then you take those 10 and say, okay, now you're the ideal client. Give me 10 that you think are relevant based on this information. So now you've
Hmm.
got 20. And that gives you from two different perspectives, the perspective of the marketer and the perspective of the actual customer. And so then you just kind of coalesce them together. And then what we did is the way that you run this is you just run them as ads and you just put real single individual, like, hey, person, what do you think about this? And then you just see what performs the best, and those are your problem statements. So those are the two prompts that we used. One as a market researcher, and the other as the actual customer. And then you see what matches up, what doesn't, and run your ads that way.
Yeah. So
Amazing.
I can just read you the prompts too here that we have in our notes that we've typed down. So one is act as a market researcher. What are 10 examples of problem statements that our ideal client would, and you fill in the blank there, would face when dealing with the problem that we solve in their own words. Each example should be short and concise and start with I need or I wish or I want. And so that way you get things like, I wish that I could wake up without being so freaking exhausted. I wish that I would be able to sleep through the night without having to wake up to pee 4 times, whatever people's problems are, right? So that's one of the prompts. The other one was act as the particular client description that you have. What are 10 common issues, challenges, or problems that you face on a regular basis? Please list these as actual statements in your own words. This is even more powerful because it forces the AI to speak as if it's your client. So that's what's in our notes.
And so I just put those also in the chat. So you can take a screenshot of it, by the way. You don't have to worry about copy and paste. If you're on a Mac, you just
Command
Command
Shift 4.
Shift 4.
Yeah,
Yep.
or use your phone.
Use your phone.
Yeah,
Because
just
guess
photo
what?
it.
You can literally upload that screenshot into AI and say extract the information, and it will.
Yeah, actually that's really cool. If you take screenshots and you say to AI, "Hey, can you turn this into text for me?" It will. It's pretty amazing. But here, I wanted to just offer this to you as well, Lisa.
Okay.
Don't do this with AI first. When you're discussing, when you're analyzing your client's problems, use your own knowledge and your own schema from speaking with clients, or like do primary research before you go to AI, because you will be the primary filter, right? So you'll go, let's say you're in a Facebook group and it's people who are the kind of people who have your problem, and you're reading what they're writing, or you're reading reviews for books on Amazon's where authors who attack that same problem have seen people who bought their book write a review or leave comments. Read those first. Grab all kinds of stuff like that, and then just think about it. So, because when Timothy and I did this, we did not jump to AI and say, "Hey, what do we think? What do you think hypnotherapists and coaches and stuff struggle with?" We already knew. We had a ton of information, and we flooded our document with brainstorming. And then we just used AI to clean it up and say, hey, what else might we not have thought of? Or how else might you word this? And some of them popped out and went, oh my God, that's really good. Some of them were like, oh, that's crap, delete, right? So yeah, do it human first. I really encourage do the human part first. And hopefully those prompts will help you and figure out what people resonate with. Now, even if you don't get as far as testing them with paid ads or anything like that, test them out by talking to people and say, hey, does this resonate with you? Does that resonate with you? And if it does, you'll know that that's a clue that you can speak to your market that way and start moving them towards knowing about the solution. Because if you're the one that introduces someone from, let's say, that problem of waking up 4 times to pee in the middle of the night, and they didn't know, oh, I mean, I don't know if hypnotherapy has proven track record on this or not, but let's say it does, or let's say you specialize in that and you help people with sleeping better, and you just had tons of, older men or something who wake up to pee 5 times in the middle of the night, or next time I say it'll be 8 times. And you've helped them. Great. You introduce them to the solution, which is, hey, did you know that the XYZ special method, which is really your brand of doing hypnosis, will help? And they go, oh, I didn't know that. I'd like to try that. And then now they're more likely to buy from you because you're the one who got them from problem aware to solution aware and product aware and most aware as far as Eugene Schwartz's model.
Yeah.
Did we show that screenshot? In our very
Probably
first?
several. Yeah, I think we showed the infographic several weeks ago in the last strategy cafe.
Maybe if I can find it, I'll just pull it up again real quick.
So Mandy did ask, like, is the training on how we did this whole, like the leads on demand training from Ryan Dice?
Yeah.
She asked, is something like this on Pykthos? No. Number one, because Chris and I are still doing the testing ourselves. We want to ensure that if it's something that we can do without having to hire an agency outside, that is probably something we can teach you guys to do in a much simpler framework. So that's the first thing. The second thing is it's Ryan Dice's stuff. And so we don't, like, we always say credit the source. So that's why I'm telling you guys up front, Chris and I are doing this thing from somebody else we learned from. We always say that. We would want to make sure that we would take the information and then give it back to you guys in a way that fits our narrative, that fits our audience, that is for coaches and hypnotherapists, not specifically to everybody,
exactly.
who's a marketer.
Exactly. Our ambition for 2026 is to to be able to start to tie in more information, which we're getting from many, many, many sources. We're just
Many
aggregating
sources.
what we were doing and learning and testing. We want to be able to help people to use paid traffic, not just organic content, because I think the number one thing you have to be able to do is have a congruent message that you're comfortable with, that you know resonates with your audience. Don't use paid traffic in the beginning unless you're using it to test messaging, because you can get better, you can buy eyeballs and test whether something resonates or not quite quickly, which is cool. But until you're comfortable being on camera or putting out the correct message, know who you're speaking to, how you're speaking to them, what your offer is going to be, until you have those basic building blocks in place, it doesn't make any sense to pay for traffic. And the course that we're going through is actually, it's really intended to help you buy traffic and then get consistent leads on demand. That's why the course is called that, every single month. And so it's something we already have been doing for years and years and years and years in, say, something like Mike Mandel Hypnosis. But since our Pykthos Mastermind is newer, and when we started it, we built it from the ground up organically, didn't buy any traffic. We thought, you know what? Let's pretend that we've never run ads before and start from scratch. And how would we do it modern? And as we learn and determine what works and doesn't work, we're going to share it with our mastermind members. All right.
Awesome. All right. So we got Joe and then Renee again. Joe, what's going on, bro?
I have a question. What content works best for attracting clients? I have not made any content whatsoever in my life before, so this is a whole new venture I find myself going in. So I was wondering what
Yeah.
what your advice is.
Well, do you want to start, Timothy, or do you want me to?
Go for it.
Okay. The content, actually, this ties nicely into the whole discussion of problem statements. So content that will help people, right? Generally, content should help people move towards a solution without being a complete solution. Otherwise, you can't sell them anything. So I have no objection to helping people for free. But as far as the business side of things go, obviously, if you do want to make money from it, you've got to lead them towards something that starts to give them evidence that you're someone who has something that can help them. And then you have to tell them what to do next. So you've got to deliver content that is useful. Let's say, with respect to problem statements, somebody knows they have a problem. So what can you do to educate them, while hopefully entertaining them a little bit too, to get the ball further down the field, right? Just how can we kick the ball a little bit down the field for them so that they see evidence like, oh, that's pretty good, I like that. Then in marketing, always, you got to tell them what to do. It's called the call to action, right? If you've ever seen websites where people say, hi, I'm Chris, I'm a hypnotherapist, and I have all these credentials, and, I have this history, and you get to the bottom of the page and there's barely a call to action that says, come book a call with me. You have to tell people exactly what to do next. So you don't have to do that in the very first engagement, when they're very first engaging with some sort of content. But at some point, you have to move from giving them useful information to telling them what to do, right? Like if we were going to market, we would say, you should join the Pykthos Mastermind as your next step, something like that. Go to pykthos.com, sign up. Like that's what you would do.
Yeah. So 100% agree with that. And for anybody else that is wondering about like social content, you have to remember all marketing, all copywriting is just selling the next step. So
Yeah.
if you're trying to go from social media to I want content that people will immediately watch and then go buy from me, it won't happen. I cannot tell you that unless it's like a $7 offer, a $15 or less thing that you're selling. Nobody is going to go from, oh, I watched your single social media video and I immediately went to your checkout and gave you $5,000. Doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. But they will see your content and they'll go, I liked that. I want more of it. So I would always let your social media content be the thing that gets them into your personal ecosystem, or at least gets them into seeing more of you. So that
Yeah.
that's why a lead magnet's important, meaning that it's something that you exchange, like, hey, give me your email address and I'll give you this thing. It could be a video that goes into a deeper dive into what you were talking about. Could be a blog post. It
Yeah.
could be anything, a podcast, right? They just want more of you. That's going to be what sells. It has
Yeah.
nothing
Just
to do with, oh, I saw this thing on social media and bought.
yeah.
Yes, Claire, I see your
And
hands
there's going
up.
to be, I just want to mention before we go to Claire, and Renee's also got a hand up again. The touch, it's going to be multiple touch points to Timothy's point. People won't go from zero to customer on the first date kind of thing. We've said this joke before. I got it from Ryan Dice. Love it. You don't take a girl out for the first date and say, what are we going to name our kids? Creepy, right? So you can't expect people to go from zero, don't know you, to planning your honeymoon and what school your kids are gonna go to right from the get-go. We Timothy and I both end up, I'm not going to tell you what it was or who it is or anything like that, but we both ended up buying a training fairly recently, like yesterday. And it's a really smart woman who was selling a particular training, and we started seeing her ads on Facebook specifically because we had both visited her website. Just as a like, hey, check this out. We found out about it because somebody in our community said, hey, you should check this girl's stuff out. It's really good. We did. We checked it out. So now, of course, Facebook's able to go, this person visited this website, and this person now wants to show ads to anyone who's visited their website. She didn't go for the kill, right? And say, like, go buy my stuff. I started seeing, I don't know, maybe 8 to 10 different ads, Timothy, would you say? Maybe not 10,
Yeah.
but a bunch, all very different. So it could be a still photo with a message just around attacking the problem that her ideal client has that, we were having in this case. It's like, okay, great. Then maybe a video, and it might be simple, like the copy on the Facebook ad, and it doesn't have to be on Facebook paid ads, by the way, Joe. So you could do, a YouTube live on a topic, or you could write a blog post on a topic, or however you want to distribute the message, doesn't matter. But it was sort of like, I'll give you an example. Hey, a lot of my clients are asking about this particular thing and how to solve this problem. This video is going to help you. And then it was just like a 10-minute training video of this woman just teaching something. No call to action in the video itself, although there's a button under because it's an ad that says, come join my thing, right? And I saw probably 7, 8, 9, 10 different pieces of content that all were so genuinely helpful. I didn't even finish watching most of them. I just watched like a minute or two if I had the time. And I went, oh, wow. It gave me enough insight to go, she knows her stuff. I want to give her money. That's how it works.
Yeah. Yeah. In the chat, I was talking about something. Someone had mentioned, John had mentioned how back in the day it was like 7 touch points to get them from not knowing to buying, and I said, well, that's now more like 70. I'm not
Maybe
entirely
not.
sure. Like that's obviously an embellishment, but I think the rough guideline, the framework, Chris, is like 7, 11, 4.
Yeah, it's a
7 touch points,
Google it.
11
Yeah.
hours total, and 4 different locations that they've seen your content is
Yeah.
typically enough to move the needle.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to who's next, and I'll grab a
Yeah.
URL
So,
and post it in the chat
Claire,
for you guys.
were you trying to comment about the conversation we were having just now?
Yes, currently.
Okay. Yeah. Go
Actually,
for
I
it.
also wanted to comment on something that was previously said. I think it was said by Renee about not being in an information economy anymore. I want to say I
Sure.
wholeheartedly agree with you, and I think beyond that, we are actually operating more in not even an attention economy anymore, but a belief economy, as just finding a group of people, and I would say selling a lifestyle, but it's more about really, to use Timothy's terms, giving someone a life of loops that like leads to a good life that they can enjoy, actually leading
Yeah.
up to a belief system that they can completely live under and understand and experience well. And we're offering some piece of that for them and some amount of information, because all the information's out there and no one fucking wants it. So evidently the information itself isn't the draw. But I wanted to say regarding Joe, just thinking about Mike's content, which Mike's content did not take long for me to go from, zero to going in. I had a couple of touch points that were separate from Mike's content that helped with that, but Mike's content itself was huge. And what so much of it is, Chris, I'm sure you can attest to this as someone involved in it, is it's so much like covert objection handling. It's
Yeah.
just, I'm literally right now making a list of, assets, specialty offers, intended audience, my funnel, and now what I'm writing is just really common objections. And for my initial content's just going to be snappy videos about why that objection is wrong and dumb. Book now. This one's
Yes.
wrong and dumb. Book now. This one's wrong and dumb. Book now. I can do this. Book now. I can do that. Book now. I think it's a really good way to surround the content and um, whatever your flavor, whoever I'm talking to, Joe, or whoever needs to hear this, like, yeah, your flavor of handling those objections. If you're the one who handles it the best and they see you first, then there you go, and you make your 11
That's
touch points pretty quickly.
That's awesome. That's really useful, Claire, because you're so right that a lot of the content, when I speak back to like the woman whose courses I bought, most of these videos were aimed around educating me on one of the possible objections that I might have that would stop me from giving her money. And now I think I already knew. It's like, okay, I've heard enough good things about this lady. I'm buying her stuff. But if I was on the fence, these were all pieces of content that were like, hey, you might be concerned about this. Let me put your mind at ease. And then there's education. And it was all objection handling. Brilliant. So you got like part of the research that you do in identifying how you like part of our brand messaging blueprint that we teach all our Pykthos Mastermind members is including what are the objections, what are the objections, and what are the rebuttals that you come up with, because that will help shape content. So I hope that helps you, Joe.
Awesome.
It's given me a lot to think about. Thank you.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
What else we got? Renee, good hand up again.
Yeah, I just want to clear up. I guess when I said from Frank Kern, it was from information to intuition. So that would be our
Yeah.
wisdom. So, but I've been running things through AI, and I came up with. I was just wondering if you give me feedback. I've made up a core positioning statement.
Sure.
So I run the turning point method. It's designed to help people through the messy middle. This is where you learn how to carry what comes after loss, change, or collapse. It helps you to carry what comes next with less, with less emotional weight, renewed confidence, and a clear sense of direction.
Yeah, I think it's got some decent starting points. I wouldn't start it with I run the turning point method. I would probably choose to start something like the turning point method and then turn it into a much more.
It does say the turning. I just meant I
Okay.
was
Oh, got
talking.
you. Okay. If you
Yeah.
could paste that into the chat, can you paste that whole thing into the chat just so we can see it? And that way, as we think about it a bit more, we can give you some more valuable feedback. But yeah, what do you think,
Yep.
Timothy?
Well, I would want to know, like, for example, where do you plan on placing this? Like, placement.
I
I would
run
want
a,
to know.
I
Yeah,
run
go
a
ahead.
4 day. I run a 4 day tiny challenge where I have a 4 days that I meet with someone, and then they get a few things, and then on the other side of it, then they can choose. It's a 4 day free, 30
Mhm.
minutes a day.
Okay.
And it's a thing with Richmond Dunn. It's a pretty good,
Yeah.
pretty,
Perfect. So, so then
and then
you're like your value proposition, that's going to be for the people that are in this lead magnet already. They've spent some time with you. That's what you're going to pitch. Okay.
mhm.
Perfect. Wonderful.
Mhm.
What I would do is I would take that and then I would take the prompts that we gave you earlier and I would say, what are the problem statements based off this unique selling proposition? Because the way that you are positioning it, if I was brand new, I have no clue what it's for, whether or not it
Mhm.
even speaks to me. Like, and so now what you got to do is now that you've got the offer part of it, now we need to go backward and say, if I was a stranger, what exactly am I getting out of this? Because all marketing really is like, it's not about you. And Chris always does
Yeah.
this thing. He always does this skit where he's like, it's not about you. It's
Oh,
about the
there's yeah.
customer.
This story goes like this. It was somewhere around maybe 13 years ago. I got this copywriting course, and the guy, I can't remember his name, but he just whipped out his guitar, his acoustic guitar, and he started singing a stupid song that was like, "Nobody cares about you. They only care about themselves." And so, as long as what you're doing with your like your statements about what you're offering, nobody gives a crap about that you've trained with, whoever you've trained with, or that you have this credential, or that nobody cares about you. They care about how you can help them. They care about the transformation that they will get. So as long as the messaging relates to them and not about, well, I can do this and I can do that, how can I, as the audience, benefit from that? As long as the messaging is around that, it'll work.
Yeah. Yeah. You've
Makes
got a
sense.
really
By the way,
strong start there,
I love
Renee.
the
It's
idea of
awesome.
doing a 4-day challenge or however many
Yeah.
days. The challenge model is phenomenal, and
Hmm.
we were doing this at Mike Mandel Hypnosis for a while. We did several 5-day challenges, and then we led that into an offer for small group training plus lifetime access. So it turned into sort of like a $3,000 offer. And that was very, very successful because there was authentic training every single day, authentic, useful stuff, and that led into natural buyers. So I love that model, Renee. That's
Yeah.
Yes,
fantastic.
I've ran several people through it. The first day we go through the 4 F's so I can understand where their fears are, their frustrations. Second day, I teach them how to do self-hypnosis. So they get, and then
Perfect.
they also give a, I also, they get a, I have a, um, everything done on YouTube. And then the fourth day, I do the high road, low road, so that they can see what they want out in the future and where they're at right now. And then the fourth day, then I do some detective work, and then I create a system on the spot, which I know where I'm taking them, and then but it's also detailed to where they want to go. So I use the languaging around what they've discussed with me, which already is something standing alone that I know what I'm already going to do, but I'm going to use the languaging that they gave me into the change, and then I have uh, um, a single session so I can do the step up all the way to $2,500 package. So I have a way to, transition them up. So at least I can move it into, a $300 session. So
Excellent.
Nice. It's awesome. Yeah, that's wonderful.
I'd like to see more people using that challenge model.
Yeah, yeah,
Timothy and I
yeah.
have talked about using it to promote the Pykthos Mastermind. It just we couldn't fit into our calendars. And now, just as a really good, useful thing here, everyone is going to walk away from a call like this with lots of ideas. One of the things that we learned many years ago and still do to this day, and it works, and we teach it and we drive this point home inside of the Pykthos Mastermind, is never have more than 3 projects on the go for any particular 90-day cycle. So for us, in the case of, let's say, running a challenge, it just never seemed feasible given the workload that we had. So this became almost a replacement for that. The Pykthos Strategy Cafe functions as a really good way for people to get to know, like, and trust us and be familiar with our style, so that if someone, let's say somebody was watching and saying, okay, this is great, I understand, I love the idea of having one membership that's going to give me all of the tools and the training on how to use them and the systems that keep everyone kind of aligned and a community, great. Those are going to be our natural customers, our natural buyers, right? And so launching Strategy Cafe was much, much easier than orchestrating sort of a like, okay, when can we carve out 5 days straight and create all the agenda and all the training? And we still may do that because I love the challenge model. But bottom line is everyone here paying attention to the call and the topics and the ideas. Just do not permit yourself more than once a quarter to go through shiny object mode and go, oh my God, what are the amazing ideas that I could do? Write them all down and then just pick no more than 3. No more than 3 for a 90-day cycle, and that will help you enormously. It will give you the shiny object, look at, there's a squirrel. You get yourself that opportunity to just write it all down, but then you focus in and pick your 2 or 3 projects max.
Yeah. Awesome.
On that note, since I don't see any
Really
hands up and we are kind of coming to the 90-minute mark,
coming to the end.
what
Yeah.
are some of the takeaways you guys are getting here? Just drop it in the chat and we'll read through them and discuss. And also maybe
Mhm.
like what are major projects that you're working on right now Or what are projects you were thinking you were going to work on, but now you realize it's too much overwhelm and you need to simplify and consolidate to two or three core ideas? What are you able to drop off your to-do list, that you realize now there's no way I was going to get this done? Drop it in the chat for us.
Yeah. And if you're listening or watching this and you're even considering joining Pykthos Mastermind, we'd love to have you. You can check it
Yeah, you
out,
can always email us.
pykthos.com/mastermind. We'd love to have you.
Yep. And if you got any questions, just shoot us an email. We're team@pykthos.com. Those messages go to Timothy and I. So if you've got questions, let us know.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
answer them. We'll answer them
Chris,
friendly. Yeah.
Chris, that was absolutely hilarious. You pulled a Mike Mandel. I was in the middle of reading
I know. I
the
interrupted you with the
off, and then
URL.
you interrupted me.
Yeah. It's so funny. We were just doing a podcast yesterday, episode 301, and Mike says, "So we've been doing this podcast for what now?" And I said, "Like for almost 14 years." "How long did it take me to learn," he says to me, "to not interrupt you when you're giving a URL?" I said, "Oh, about 13 and a half years." So there you go. Maybe I'll figure it out by next decade.
Here's the 13
Oh,
years of
and
us doing
Julie's
this,
just
buddy.
saying, Julie says she finished completing a mini course.
Nice.
You mean like you
Chuffed to the
created, not
bits.
you didn't take someone else's, Julie, right? You mean you made your own? Oh, fantastic. Do send it to us. Like send us the details, post it in the mastermind community. That's awesome. Matt says changing niche, working closer with your wife and her yoga, adding hypnosis. Yeah, that's awesome. Actually, that can be a lot of fun if you have someone that you want to work with and you can tie in, like hypnosis can work really well with yoga, right? Because people are already getting, let's say, the physical and some mental stuff, but you can talk, like there are other problems maybe people want to go a little bit deeper into. That's fantastic. I love it.
Love it.
Right.
All
Bruce, what you got?
I just want to say that for this quarter, my prime thing is getting in front of people.
Nice.
I'm doing volunteering at the Ontario Relay Championships tomorrow and the next day. The following weekend, I've got a booth at a baseball coaches trade show. End of February, I'm at an Ontario coaches meeting, and I'll be having a display there. So my change is actually putting myself in front of people with something they can relate to, because
That's awesome.
Awesome.
talking to people is 100 times more powerful than a Facebook post.
Oh my God, yeah, for sure. Like you won't be able to, it's not as scalable, but it is so much like you make up in, for lack of scalability, you make up in quality and engagement. Yeah.
Great job,
And
Bruce.
how many people want to just, one of my favorite bands. Yeah, way to go, Bruce. I love U2. I love a bunch of, bands, but U2 has been my favorite band since I was a kid. And, I would much rather be front row center watching them play than putting on my AirPods and listening to an album. Yeah.
Chris, I thought you were going to say then putting on your AirPods and watching somebody's video being front row at a
Oh
YouTube
yeah,
concert.
watching somebody else. That's even a good point. Even how dissociative. Oh man, that's very funny. Oh wow.
It's like all the
Okay, so
people that take video of themselves with the fireworks during 4th of July or whatever. Like,
oh yeah, I saw some funny videos that's like, the joke. Someone goes on vacation, they're immediately rushing to document every aspect of the vacation, and then they don't enjoy their own vacation. And
Yeah.
that reminds me of a couple of times where I've, had young kids and maybe they were playing some sport and I was trying to get a good video of it. And I didn't get to appreciate the actual experience of watching them. So I stopped doing that. There you go. We're at 12:30. You want to make any closing remarks at all, Timothy, or any invitations of where we can go next?
Well, I honestly love the fact that this room was just stacked full of brilliant minds and people who are wanting to grow the same way that all of you who are in the room with us now would love to do that. And so let's say that you don't want to join the mastermind yet. Before that, maybe you want to be in the room with us and have these discussions. If you go to pykthos.com/cafe, that's /CAFE, you'll be able to register to join us in these rooms. They're 100% free every other Friday. And yeah, that's all I got, Chris. What about you?
That's awesome. Okay, that's perfect. So yeah, I love it that we're here doing these live. We'll get these up for replay and on both YouTube and on Spotify or all the podcasty platforms, and loving the idea of having people come and join us. So tell people about it too. If you thought that this was useful, do share that link with other ones,
Share it.
with other ones, humans,
other
those
ones.
human people. Share it. All right. So let's end it. Everyone unmute, and let's do it in our classic way. We will say thanks once again.
And
And
good night.
night.
Hey.
Bye bye. Bye bye.